back. We're going back in time once again. Because no one will ever get sick of hearing about the Titanic, will they?
No.
One of the greatest disasters in history next to 9/11. It is timeless. And this is Strange Brew Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tomcat, a.k.a. Tom Thompson. And I'm ready to go aboard this ship and travel to a new world in America. And who else do I have here on this voyage?
Another co-passenger on this wonderfully strange voyage that we call Strange Brew, HP Shovecraft.
And literally, I said we're going to do it, and we're fucking doing it. Now we're in 2022. We are talking about the Titanic. We're going back. Nobody gets sick of hearing about this shit. I really think so. We talked about the conspiracy aspects of it the last time we talked about the Titanic, and we always said we were going to get into the ghost stories and more or less ghosty things and hauntings that have to do surrounding the Titanic. And we're going to actually get into some firsthand accounts of people that were aboard the ship. Yes, we are talking about Titanic once again.
Jack, I want you to draw me like one of your French girls.
Eating this cheeseburger and nothing else.
So this is going to be, I still like, I was watching, we were watching this thing on Prime, and it's like, it's called The Movies, and it goes into detail of movies in the 80s and 90s, and they talk about the Titanic. And man, I know you differ opinion. I still love that movie. I don't care. It gave me my first boner, as I said in the first episode. I still enjoy it, the theatrics of it and everything, and the grand scale of it. So we're going to get back into the Titanic once again. We're traveling. We're back on the voyage, man.
You thought the ship sunk last time? No, you were wrong. It popped right back up out of the waters.
Yep.
You're crazy.
That's what everybody says.
Literally, everybody says that. So we're just going to get back into the details. So maybe people that didn't catch the conspiracy one, we're going to go over, obviously, what this is all about. So the RMS Titanic set out on its maiden voyage with more than 2,200 people aboard in April 1912. Tragically, only 700 of those 706 of those passengers would survive. The ship was moving too fast one freezing night and struck an iceberg and went down. Those who perished in the event survived a terrifying and agonizing demise. Any paranormal enthusiast will tell you that with strong emotions paired with an untimely end are key ingredients for a haunting.
Yeah, it starts up just about, every ghost story possible that has a bloodied or a malicious, malevolent haunting is usually and one night they met their untimely, violent demise.
And there is many different ghost stories to do with ships, with boats, essentially. So it might be something we get into later on in life. But
ghost ships have been a part of
do you like the
naval lore since the beginning of
it's true.
history. Like Flying Dutchman, all that shit. Yeah.
I got a full glass of rum. This is all rum.
That's just straight. Is it Kraken?
No, it's straight rum. Captain Morgan's black. Actually,
Captain Morgan Black.
I thought for years I couldn't drink rum because I used to get heartburn with it when I was a teenager. Like anytime me and my buddy drank a fucking 26 of Bacardi between the both of us, and we both just got heartburn.
Yeah, well,
I think it's just Bacardi. But when I went to Cuba when I was 19, and I managed to shot at people. But when I went to Cuba, I drank rum the whole time. So I was like, whatever. And then I haven't got into it, but I got a bottle of rum because I had it from the Christmas live special where I drank rum and eggnog. So I got a full glass of rum. It's actually really tasty, man. It kind of tastes like a hints of chocolate and stuff.
Oh yeah, Captain Morgan Black's good. I can't drink rum for the same reason you just described. I get wicked heartburn from it.
But I don't anymore. So maybe it's certain kinds.
I don't know. Like I used to spend summers like drinking Kraken and Sailor Jerry because it was like $20 a bottle. It was like 94 proof, and it was like, there goes my night.
Yeah, because after I drink some rum, smoke a little weed.
I'm flying. Jack.
I'm flying, Jack. I'm flying.
Yes,
That's how I feel. That's how I feel after I drink too much. I feel like I'm flying on the cloud of inebriation.
In a world of pure inebriation.
Yeah. In a world of yes.
I've
Yes.
got a little bit of Jim Beam Devil's Cut with some club soda.
That's a
But
good
as I
idea.
told Tom earlier, I'm gonna be going for a nice drinking walk later, so
Yes. And
I
that's
gotta
why
pace it.
when we start getting into some other stuff this year, we're gonna make sure that Anton is drinking. We're gonna have some fun doing some
Yes, we have
crazy
had
episodes.
requests that I drink more, so I guess that'll be what's happening.
And I know Billy gets sick of it, but I'm never not gonna mention what we're drinking on because it's just what we do. I want sponsors one day, and that's how we can start every podcast. You pay me money. I promote your
I plug your
vodka.
shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So
it's
for
tradition at this point. I
yeah,
mean,
that's
it's
why
like
I got the
Cra-
hat. Just because the episode 2, we're going back in time, so this hat is appropriate. I'm wearing my Paperboy like Peaky Blinders hat for this episode. So for 8 decades, the RMS Titanic and all of its content sat at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean until an underwater excavation. Teams brought artifacts back up to the surface. Now these pieces of history are offering a rare glimpse at what it was like essentially to be on this massive ship, and hints at its ghostly spirits that still linger around the doomed vessel. And but before we start that off, we're going to talk about some terrifying stories from people who actually survived this frightening disaster.
Do you think
Stuff.
if they were to successfully pull the wreckage up
Yeah.
and store it in a museum somewhere, think the haunting would persist?
Um,
You and your kombuchas.
I
You
love
think like
kombucha.
the museum would then become haunted? Like anyone that would go near the exhibit would have, ghostly visions and.
And that's what we're going to get into, because spirits attach themselves to it. And I wonder, I don't know. We had a comment on the conspiracy one. This guy claimed that there was like a black portal.
Oh my God! Yeah, that
I
dude.
was like, what the fuck?
He's like, no, it didn't sink. It actually went into a black hole in the middle of the ocean. I was like, dude, that's fantastic. I love that.
So,
Fucking, I'm gonna adopt that.
but I wonder if in some parallel dimension, they like still think they're on the ship in the bottom of the ocean, but it's constructed originally the way it did before it like crashed and the disaster happens. You know, like things get imprinted in time, but they're all like dancing in the Irish fucking jig underneath the fucking ship where like Jack and Rose went.
Well,
I
you
don't
would
know.
think they wouldn't relive the moments leading up to the crash because they're supposed to be continuing the moments where they're dying and what have you. So most people didn't die in the crash. Like maybe if you
Yeah,
were
true,
standing
true.
near the engine room
True.
when it blew up or something, you got to relive those memories going before
That's
it.
true.
But my other question
What about the
was,
people that like fell asleep in their beds? Like, remember in the movie that the mom's tucking the kids into bed, which is even fucking that's so scary too. To think like, and that she's singing them songs and stuff, and comforting them as essentially the water starts filling up, and then you and your children drown. Like, I wonder if they stayed in that dimension. Who knows?
yeah, it's possible. Like you go in that room and you just see that scene replayed.
Yeah, because like residual hauntings,
Mhm.
like we talked about in the Christmas haunting episode.
Christmas haunting. But yeah, the other thing is it would it be the actual wreckage of the ship itself, or would it be the area?
Yeah, and you
So, like,
know,
if you pulled the ship out, would it come with, or would it just be the bottom of the ocean? There's people sitting on the ship as though it was still, pre.
yes. So it is weird, and you know they kept saying, "Oh, it's not going to sink. It's not going to sink."
But the ship
Unsinkable.
can't sink. She's made of iron, sir. I assure you, she can.
She's made of iron, sir. I'm sure she can and she will.
Yeah, so she wasn't made of wood. We can't make ships this big out of wood. We might actually have a higher survival rate because people could cling to the debris.
So we're actually going to get into some stories from a first class, second class, and third class passengers. So let me get in the first class. Jack Thayer. Jack Thayer was 17-year-old high school senior from an upper class family, returning from a trip to Paris with his parents. In confusion following the collision with the iceberg, Thayer became separated from his parents because everyone's panicking, which is it's extremely scary for this to happen and how it happened and when it did happen, and it's even more frightening that you're separated from your family.
Well, I mean, the chaotic stampede occurs with any disaster, but you'd think that when it first started and everything started going down, they would have kind of had it under control a little bit. But then all it takes is one person just being like, "No, fuck you, out of my way," and then knock somebody out and they move. But this is the early 19th century, so if somebody got that unruly, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
outside the realm of possibility that an officer on that ship is just like.
Well,
Anybody
I know,
else?
and they show it with
Anybody
that guy
else,
in
like-
the movie. He's like,
Yeah.
he's pointing the gun at everybody, and he's like, and then, and the movie is a fucking movie, yes, but these things could have happened easily. There wasn't some love story, but who knows? There could have been, and we don't even fucking know about it. That's why people are like, it's, and my grandfather, when I would talk about the Titanic, he's like, that wasn't a real thing. There was no Jack and Rose, but there could have been some love story like this aboard the Titanic. That. Even a guy, third class passenger meets his first class chick, and they bang, and then that was fun.
Well, it's basically Romeo and Juliet. It's two teenage lovers that defy everyone else's wishes and get a whole bunch of people killed and then end up dying in the process.
I was gonna say, I just thought about, not a lot of black people.
No, it's the Titanic. Most of the people that were working class would be Irish.
Yeah, I know. And even in the movie, there's
and Italians and stuff like.
There's
immigrants.
there's that Italian guy that gets shot.
How
No, that's
many
not.
black,
No, that's
how
not
many
the guy that
black
gets
people
shot.
were
The
in
other guy gets
England
shot.
when the Titanic set sail? Because remember, it's not
Yeah,
an
I
American
know.
ship;
Oh, that's
it's
true.
an English ship.
Yeah, but they still had slaves.
No,
You don't think so? They didn't have slaves?
no.
Britain
England
didn't
did
have
not
slaves.
participate in the slave trade like that. No,
Hmm.
Dutch, Spanish,
Oh yeah.
and Americans. The English took their slaves in the form of colonies.
Well, it's kind of funny that they claim that's fucking white people, blah 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 blah. It's we're going a little off, but it's a lot of times it was the Spaniards and stuff like that. So
Spaniards and the Dutch, but the Spanish are technically white too.
how are they white?
really-
They're Spanish.
Yeah, you're confusing Spanish and Mexican, or Spanish and Latino.
No,
The
Spanish.
Spanish conquered
Yeah, I
the
guess.
indigenous people of South America and of those things. Like the Spanish were
Well, that
also
made
an empire.
Latinos. But who's the guy that got shot? He was an Irish guy. He was his buddy, right? When he fucking
Dude, I've-
shoots him.
I have seen the Titanic exactly once, and I fell
That's
asleep during
it?
it. Dude, I
Oh,
fell
fuck
asleep during
you.
it was the first movie I ever fell asleep during in the theaters, and I've never given it another shot.
You
I'm like,
should. You
that's
should have
4
before
hours
this
of my life that I
episode.
don't want to dedicate to this.
3 hours, you fuckhead.
Whatever.
It's such a romantic story, bro. Man, he's poor and he meets this hot chick. Kate Winslet is not that attractive, but it's fun.
It's not a
man.
romantic story. It's a story about two teenagers that fuck around and get a whole bunch of people senselessly killed. If neither one of them would have ever engaged in their stupid little hormonal fucking love triangle, a lot less people would have died.
That's bullshit, man. Because guess what? He was
I'm the king of the world!
the king.
He
of
was
the
a
world.
peasant. He was a bum that was fucking drawing shit and cruising around France banging whores.
Jack, I want you to draw me like one of your French girls.
So Jack Thayer was 17 at the time, so he got separated from his parents during the chaos that was ensuing, and Jack became separated. And Jack, a young man he met aboard named Milton Long, stayed together on the ship's bow, and as it sank lower, fucking scary, man. This either way, what I like about the movie is that they do show how terrifying it would be. Everyone's scrambling. My favorite part's the last part of the film, where everyone's scrambling the top of the ship and everything, and people can say what they want. I like the fucking film. Fuck off.
Look, I laugh my ass off when that dude hits the propeller. Every
know,
time I laugh my ass off, okay? It's like,
You've watched it
boing.
once.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that scene many, many times. I watched the sinking. I'm just not
Yeah.
watching the entire fucking movie again.
Yeah, even because but it was actually fun. Me and Chelsea drank and got drunk. I think it was during fucking quarantine bullshit when I got laid off for 2 months, and we were just drinking all the time, day drinking everything, and just partying essentially because we had nothing else to do.
Fucking
And we watched the first half of it because it is long, and we drank and we just we watched it while we talked about how different the time era was.
Mhm.
And it's just interesting when you get in that mindset of drinking and just talking and you're going off and watching something that you're like, man, this is such a different compared to what it is now, what we live in now. It is so different.
Of course. I mean,
So
even
so
going back
different.
and looking at the 40s compared to what we do now, it's night and day.
I know, and that's I was just talking about that last night. The fact that we've excelled so much. Yeah, we slowly excelled. From the 1500s, where it's like medieval times, to the 1800s, where everyone's riding around on horses and they actually have like cloth made clothes and better fitting clothes and
I
than
mean,
they
all of our
did.
clothes are made out of cloth. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
rich people. It's not. I wouldn't say that it's better fitting. I would say rich people have always had better style clothes, and
yeah.
peasants have always worn
But I'm saying
rags.
that whole thing where it slowly progressed, in my opinion. It was just slow, and then people claim it's the industrial age, but I blame aliens. But how we in the last fucking 80 years, the amount of just like boom, and we have fucking cars, and we have touch technology, and we have cell phones, and people are like, no, it was kind of slow, but like it just progressed. But and I know you're skeptical about it too, but I do believe that aliens has something to do with our push towards this technology age that
See,
we're living in
that's
right
my
now.
favorite story. Like, it's not that I don't believe it. I don't, but I don't believe anything really. But that's my favorite story. Is that
Told you to
you
fucking watch that episode with that fucking Robert Earl White, man. It's fucking good,
watch which
dude.
episode?
The episode that it should be already out by now. The time this comes out, the episode with Robert Earl White, where we fucking it had actually a lot of views on Facebook because we tried to go live to Facebook for the first time in forever, and he knows his shit about aliens, dude. I'm telling you, it's fucked. No more than I know, and I know like everything.
All right.
But so and just this time era, it's so crazy to me to think about because it's like, I wish I could just like I wish I could go back in time like and there's theories obviously they have this in the future or whatever that they have time machines where you can go into certain places at a time. I would love to just show up on the Titanic just for like a day before it sunk and just see what's going on, hang out with people, see just the energy surrounding the ship and how everyone's excited. Everyone was super excited. We're going to a new land. Like I'm like even people, and it's crazy that it crashed and what happened. And these people that came from even poor families and were like, I got my ticket. I can go to America. Like risked everything. The rich people, more or less, were like, I get the first class. I booked this long time ago. I'm ready to go. This will be awesome. I already have the money. I can just make a means and I don't really need to work too much. I can instill myself into the American culture. And with the people that had nothing, literally, this is their ticket out of the slums. They could work in America and build up this dream life.
Well, a lot of Irish immigrants were on the Titanic when it went down too, because a lot
Mhm.
of them were leaving during the famine.
That's what I'm
And
saying. Like, what a
yeah,
different time era in this would have been super exciting. That energy of just everyone so excited, and then for it to fucking go right downhill.
I'd love to time travel and like have enough of the means to just present myself as superbly affluent
Yeah,
and hobnob with all the people, and then somehow get my name aboard the passenger registry and put my name on it. And then when the ship goes down, I'm never heard from again, so I'm listed as
yes.
one of the victims. And then back in present time, I'm just like, yo, I was aboard the Titanic.
You're
Bullshit. I'm like, open that
bullshit.
fucking registry. I'm right there.
Anton Crowley.
They're
So
just like, you
it
son of a bitch. Where'd you get that book?
so that Jack essentially he met with his homie that he kind of hung out with. See, and people were hanging out. So I'm saying people like you would meet. I'm sure this happened. Not the Jack and Rose thing, but that people hung out and they became friends, and that you met people from all different walks of life,
It's the
and
same as
you
anywhere. I
wouldn't
mean, even
mingle with certain people. I'm sure.
I'm sure that the classes were still kept separate, but just like nowadays, you had to have at least one person back then that was pretty groovy and was just,
Yeah.
about like, I'm gonna go out back and they don't know that I got this, but I got I got this one of these here reefer cigarettes that I'm gonna smoke on the back deck, and
If there was no customs, I'm sure there was people smoking some doobies on the
it
fucking
was
Titanic.
still legal in most
Yeah,
places at that
yeah.
point. Like marijuana wasn't made illegal in the United States until 60s. I want to say it's like
So
60
this
or
time, I think
67.
this is why you said it's like timeless. That this whole era and what
Mhm.
this what happened on the Titanic is such a imprint in history, like 9/11 is. It's the same type of thing where it's just imprinted in history. It's such this grand disaster. And so when he met with his homie, fucking Milton, they stayed together. As the ship's bow sank lower, just before the Titanic sank, they decided to jump on from the rail. Fucking so they did what the movie did. They waited on the other side of the rail, waited till it to go down. They jumped off. Milton went first. Jack never saw him again. Isn't
Well, he
that?
probably
Oh
jumped at the
man,
wrong time and got sucked under by the current and the undertow, and then just drowned.
It's fucking sad, man. You fucking lose your homie, and then it's just like, man, you don't know what to do anymore. So sad. And then Jack was Mr. Lonely.
Call back to our Elizabeth Clare episode.
Clara.
Clara.
So he never saw him again, which is fucking frightening. From the icy water, Jack looked up to see the Titanic's second funnel topple into the ocean close by. So he literally saw it break off and fall. Horrific. Well, literally everyone is screaming and panicking. Everyone's freaking out as this thing is going down.
Yeah, and they said that once it sunk, it was like deathly quiet for a few seconds, and then it was
Screams.
all you heard were sobs and screams. And
so as it went down, as we said, like when it toppled in the ocean, it did create like a suction, and it pulled Jack under the water. When he surfaced, he found himself close enough to climb on the top of the collapsed B, a lifeboat that ended up in the water upside down.
Lucky.
Can you hear that?
Hear what?
Oh, it's done. My cat.
It's that goddamn cat again.
A fucking cat, I swear to God. She just
Do you have that soundbite, or does only Juan have that soundbite?
Juan has that soundbite. I made that for him. I don't need it. I can scream. It's a goddamn cat. I can scream myself. So he saw this, and like he found, like, which is crazy. He found a lifeboat that was upside down in the water, and
lucky.
The fact that he got to it probably first before anyone else did is crazy. And from where, like, and they got on top of it, and Jack witnessed the last moments of the Titanic as the stern rose, and then it sank into the darkness in the cold water. So he saw it break off. He jumped on this boat as he got sucked under, but he was far enough away where he was able to escape suction and pulling him down, and they do show that really well in the movie of how and they're holding hands, Jack and Rose, and they get fucking shot off in other directions, and then he jumps on this and he literally sees the last bit. Yeah, and there's probably like so much noise and commotion to nothing.
Yeah,
and then screams, and it shows it in the movie very well. I do think that. So at first it was quiet, and then the cries began. Sounds are horrific.
Bloop. That's all I hear in the background is the blubbing of the water.
I froze.
No, you did.
Just extremely scary, and even using that sound effect, it shows how horrific, the things that they probably heard while this was going down. And Jack said it soon became one continuous long wailing chant from 1,500 that were in the water all around us. Extremely scary, man. This is why this thing also sticks in history, and is timeless, as you said, is that it was so horrific, and there were so many witnesses to see it. People on lifeboats, like a couple yards away, being like, "Well, should we go back?" And that's why that's why I bring up the movie, because it does show a lot of good aspects of what's her name, the very famous actor, the woman, the robust woman that kind of likes Jack. What's her name? It's like Helen something. Maybe it's not. It's gonna bug me. That the bigger chick that is kind of the rich woman, and she kind of likes Jack, and so
is it Kathy Bates?
Is it Kathy? Oh, it is Kathy Bates. No, it's someone like looks like Kathy Bates.
Are you sure? All right, I'm looking it up.
All right, look it up. Look up the cast. This will get cut from the audio, but we keep it in the video.
Yeah, it is Kathy Bates. She plays Margaret Brown. Yeah, it's Kathy Bates. Bill Paxton was in this movie?
Yeah, this fucking shit's dope, dude. Watch it again. Just fucking watch the whole thing.
No.
I want to go watch it after this episode.
Do it.
I really want to. Chelsea won't let me because she's like, we don't want. Every time we're like trying to put on a movie, she's like, I don't want to watch the same shit. You always put on these old ass horror movies and stuff that we've seen a million times. I'm like, because I love it. That's why. Because every time we drink or hanging out watching movies, it's like I always put on like, or I try really fucked up horror movies I've never seen. That she's like sitting on her phone because she's like, I don't care about this shit. But like in Kathy Bates' character, she's like, we should go back. There's your like husbands, because she's in a boat full of women, and obviously one of the captains, or not captains, but the guys that control the lifeboats, whatever they would be called. She like screams like, you go back. That's your husbands and your children, and they don't do shit.
Mm-hmm.
They do nothing, right? So as the terrible cries fade away, other lifeboats did not return, and it was the most heart-wrenching part of the whole tragedy of the 2,208 people on board the Titanic. Why did it give me two different fucking numbers? Yeah, there's so many different. It's 2,200, and then people say it's 2,208. It's like they can't track certain people.
There has to be speculation. Yeah, I'm sure they're probably trying to account for stowaways, for people that had tickets but weren't listed, or blah blah blah. I hear the cat now, yeah.
Shut up! Meow. That fucking cat is like psycho. So 700
just want some pets.
So obviously around 700 people did survive, but Jack was actually reunited with his mother on board of a rescue ship that came in. He survived. He was probably cold as fuck, but he did survive, and he was young. He was 17. This kid
probably
survived.
Why he was able to survive. He was probably very healthy. He was 17, so his body could recover. And
the rescue ship was the Carpathia. Is that right? The Carpathia.
Yeah.
Carpathia, yeah. Early the next morning. So he survived the whole night on this upside down boat, which is, I wonder if it was just him or if he was able to maybe get people on board. Because usually younger people, they have more of a sympathetic side to themselves. People that get older, they get less inclined to care about anything or anyone.
Get a little more reserved, get a little more wrapped up in your own shit.
Yes. So it was then that he found out that his father hadn't survived. Jack went on to a successful career, and he married and had 2 sons. But hard not to wonder if the horror of that night ever left him. And it's crazy. So in 1945, the age of 51, Jack committed suicide after his son Edward was fucking killed in World War II. And I just got chills. I literally just got chills. Because that's a crazy thing for you to survive something like that. Your son dies during this horrific war, and you're like, fuck it. Like, I'm done. Like, that's bullshit.
Everyone has their breaking point, and I'm sure that was probably the highlight of his life. Who knows? Maybe his wife was dead. I mean, I know that's not in the article, but...
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I could understand it. I could understand just being like, nothing left to do on this planet, you know?
I know. All right, so let's get into the second-class citizen. Or citizen, second-class passenger.
Second-class citizen. You fucking classist, Tom. I knew it. Fucking
yeah, classism is the real issue.
I'm reporting you to my local SJW. Second-class passengers. The Coyer family. Harvey and Charlotte Coyer and their 8-year-old daughter Marjorie had left home in England. They were heading to a new life on an Idaho farm to improve Charlotte's health. Probably
Potatoes.
had TB or she had TB. She would be on the ship.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Idaho just reminds me of potatoes.
Now you're being racist against the Irish, Tom.
Damn, I'm Irish. Fuck off, man. It's one thing I can claim.
When the Titanic stopped briefly in Queenston to pick up more passengers and drop off any mail that passengers had written, Harvey sent a cheery postcard to his folks, saying in part, "My dear Mum and Dad, it don't seem possible. We are out on the briny writing to you. Well, dears, so far we are having a delightful trip. Weather is beautiful and the ship magnificent. We will post again at New York. Lots of love. Don't worry about us."
Crazy.
How wrong he was.
So crazy.
Dude, it's nuts. When the ship struck the iceberg at 11:40 p.m. on Sunday night, April 14th, Harvey left the cabin to investigate. Upon his return, he told a sleepy Charlotte, "What do you think? We've struck an iceberg. Big 'un. But there is no danger. An officer just told me so. So, I mean, it sounds to me like he was kind of like, what do you think? You think we're good? Do you think we should probably
Well, that's why
try
people
and
were
get off
like,
this?
they're like, the ship's made of iron, sir.
But the ship can't sink.
She's made of iron, sir. I assure you, she can.
It's just this idea of that the people on board believed it was unsinkable. They told him that.
Mhm.
Shit's unsinkable. That's what ties in the conspiracy shit, because maybe it's not the right ship and it was a ship that already had a hole that they patched up. But this idea of like that, people believed it. And even when they hit the iceberg, people were like, no, this is not going to sink. Even the first class citizens were like, no, we're good. We're rich. We came from wealth. They're not going to let this happen to us.
God doesn't let anything happen to the rich, only
Yeah.
the poor. But of course, there was danger. Later, Charlotte clung to Harvey's arm, unwilling to get into a lifeboat. All around her, the sailors were shouting, "Women and children first!" Suddenly, a sailor grabbed Marjorie and threw her into a boat. Charlotte had to be physically torn from her husband. Harvey tried to reassure her. "Go, Lottie, go! For God's sakes, be brave and go. I'll get a seat in another boat." A week later, safe in New York with her young daughter, Charlotte broke the news to her mother-in-law. "My dear mother, I don't know how to write you or what to say. I feel I shall go mad sometimes. But dear, as much as my heart aches, it aches for you too, for he is your son, and the best that ever lived. Oh, mother, how can I live without him? He was so calm. The agony of that night can never be told. I haven't a thing in the world that was his, only his rings. Everything we had went down." Which is fucking terrible. Like, she has
Yeah,
nothing
that's
left
really
of her
sad.
husband.
Very sad.
Charlotte died from tuberculosis 2 years later. So again,
course
it's
she
another
did.
it's another just horrible tragedy upon tragedy, and or maybe it's a Final Destination style series of
That's
events
true.
where you can escape death.
Oh man,
but
I
you
would
can't
love that. Someone
escape
make that
death.
fucking movie.
Final
Make the
Destination,
Final
but the
Destination
Titanic.
Titanic. You know how fucking cool that'd be?
Dude, get Leo DiCaprio, do
Oh,
the
yeah.
CGI reverse age him, and make him the was it Devon Sawa in the first one that was like, "We're all gonna fucking die," like
Yeah.
that character, and then that never happens, and he grabs Rose and they run off, and then they get hunted down by death.
Remember, he's Great Gatsby, as we said in the conspiracy episode. Who
Yes,
knows?
yes, he grows up to become Jay Gatsby.
So we're gonna talk about third class citizen Rodna,
Radna.
which is a great name. Rodna. It's not Rhonda. Rhonda is definitely it's not Rhonda.
My name's Radna.
Rodna Abbott. Abbott was returning to America with her 2 teenage sons. Returning to America. She already lived there. She was already American, which is even
So she
crazier.
went. Was she on vacation to go visit family, or?
Most likely. Which is even crazier that you left. You got this ticket, third class, so you
Yes.
somehow got this ticket.
Yeah, you're third class, but you have the money for a 2-way ticket to and from America.
She probably went over there for something, work or anything, and
Yeah,
yeah.
but normally
so
that's
So it sounds like she was returning to America with her 2 teenage sons. So obviously she had a husband. Maybe she took them over to go back to the homeland and see her family and introduce her sons to the family that she had. And maybe her husband was able to shell out the tickets, works hard, and to get her over there to be able to do this. And then she somehow gets tickets, or husband maybe fronted for them or something like that. Sent her money in on a stork or something. Because I don't know how they got money back
by
then.
Raven.
Yeah.
He sent her money by Raven.
So, and their 2 sons, Rosmore and Eugene. What names that don't exist anymore? Rosmore does not exist. There's no one named Rosmore.
Never met
anymore.
anyone named Rosmore.
What's
I mean,
Rossmore?
Eugene, we
What's
have Eugene
Rossmore?
Levy, so
Yeah, it's true. The
And,
family managed to reach the boat deck by climbing a steel ladder on the steer and walking on the slanted deck over the ropes left by the lifeboats, which already have been launched. Even scarier. Like all these people that fucking managed to survive, and then you're getting on the edge and you're on the brink of essentially death. And so collapsed C, one of the lifeboats with a canvas sides, was being loaded with only women and children. And at 16 and 13, the Abbott boys were considered too old. 13 and 16, like that's horrible that they're like, no, you're too old. These kids are fucking teenagers.
dude, 14-year-olds were lying about their age and getting drafted into fucking World War I. So
Yeah, getting in the conscription, which is like crazy to me too, is that they were allowed to do this. and that's why there's these stories. And I want to get back into war stories and around battlefields and stuff like that, because it is I'm fascinated by World War I and II, like beyond belief. Like I'm especially, it's just, I've said this before, how my grandfather's, I was like, you should join the military. I told him the military and the wars were funded by both sides, which I do believe, and all this stuff. That war is a population control tool, that people are paid from both sides. And I believe this too, and I will never not believe this. But it's the fact that these people were so brave, and these kids thought that they were going to change something, and more or less a lot of the young ones die. And very sad. But it's just the fact that it's kind of crazy. They're like, you know what, you're too old, and their mother stepped back to stay with her children. So really good on her for being that guardian. And you know, it's kind of crazy. So as the boat was lowered, J. Bruce Ismay, managing director of the White Star Line, jumped in. So this guy's a fucking asshole. The guy that was
He
managing
jumped into the boat after telling everybody, "No, you're too old."
Yeah.
Please tell me they threw his ass overboard.
So no, they fucking, these people like that, and they show it, and that's why I do like the movie, because they show these ideas of, like, remember the one guy, and he's like, I think he helped construct the Titanic, and he jumps in the boat, and he's like looking around, he like feels, you can see in his face that he feels guilty, but he wants out. And in you know that then and that's why it's even trippy if you see that scene of the guy that created the Titanic, and there was the architect, and he's like standing next to the clock in the fireplace, and the ship's starting to turn, and he's like sitting there drinking whiskey, and he has his like hand on it as it's fucking tilting up, and he knows he's gonna die, and he fucked up in his opinion, in his mind, not as his opinion, but in his mind, he messed up, and he didn't construct this as well as it should have, maybe.
Or as well as he told everybody. So maybe he thought, like, by saying it was unsinkable, that he was responsible because they didn't take the same precautionary measures they would have if they had, you know, any idea that they're like, this ship is, it's entirely possible this ship will sink, and we're sailing through icy waters, so.
And they chose to do that too. Isn't that, like, we didn't talk about the conspiracy episode, that they chose to go a certain route to be quicker, and they could have bypassed all of these icebergs, all of them. They could have.
Yeah.
And they chose not to, because they thought they were going to save a couple hours, and which is fucking crazy. And it's so fucking devastating that people went through this when they really didn't need to. And so the final moments, you know, Abbott and her boys jumped from the deck. She managed to get into collapsed A, and the only woman in that boat, she was the only woman in the boat. And her beloved sons were lost. They died. Her 13 and 6-year-old died. They jumped. She managed to somehow, the men were like, oh, a woman. And they picked her up, and they got her out because she was probably separated from her boys. They died. And it took a long time for I want to say Rhoda, or what did I call her? It's RHODA.
Was it Rodney or something that you called
Rhoda.
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 What a weird name. So it took a long time for Rhoda to recover from the effects and the injuries and the exposure she suffered that night. She never recovered from the loss of her sons that died. Alone and poor, she died in 1946. Poor, alone, so she had no husband, obviously, or he died from a heart attack or something, and she was left alone.
Yeah, or he was off in, you know, another country still and hadn't been able to come over yet.
Oh, yeah, that might be the idea too, is that maybe, I thought before I read this too, when I was researching this, that maybe she was American. She went over there, fell in love, had kids, and that she wanted to travel back home. Also, maybe instead it's the reverse. Instead of going to see her family, she was going to see her family in New York or whatever state she lived in America, and she wanted the two boys to come along with her. And meanwhile, her husband is back home, and they never reunite, and she dies poor and lonely.
Yeah, they're both very possible.
You know, so let's take a turn, and let's get into I Ain't Afraid No Ghosts. Let's talk about ghost stories. So the Titanic artifact exhibition exhibit. The Titanic artifact exhibit at the Luxor Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas apparently has ghosts wandering its grand staircase. Employees and guests alike have seen this mysterious woman who wears a black period dress with a white collar and her hair in a bun because they didn't like women wearing their hair down because I don't know why. It's just why did they do that? Why is this like women, you can't wear your hair down?
I don't know. Probably just one more thing that men use to be like, no, a proper lady doesn't do that.
Yeah. So as a photographer, prep for the opening of the exhibition, he in the exhibit, he spotted a woman casually walking down the grand staircase. He was startled. And as he hasn't seen anyone enter the staircase and it was roped off, he assumed that she was part of the exhibit and asked if she would like him to take a photograph of her. She ignored him. He went back to setting up, but suddenly she was directly behind him again. He like turned around and was like, oh, what the fuck? He offered a photograph again. Now, this time she didn't just ignore him. She literally fucking vanished.
She ghosted him?
Literally. She vanished.
Rude. How are you going to ghost somebody that's just trying to, it's rude.
So crazy. And there's all these ghost stories tied to the exhibit that they put on. And Chelsea went and saw it when I think she was in high school. It's gotta be high school, where they did this exhibit in Toronto at the museum where you could walk through the Titanic ship and there was things set up and you could actually put your hand in the water and how cold it was at the time. And it hasn't come back yet, but as soon as it does, and hopefully this shit ends, I would love more than anything to go see the Titanic exhibit and just like they set it up so you like feel like you're inside the ship. I think that'd be fucking awesome.
Live stream it.
Yeah, I know. So the ghost takes portraits off the wall. The exhibit at the Luxor includes a portrait of J. Bruce Ismay, the fucking douchebag, one of the Titanic builders, the guy that jumped in the ship.
The guy that jumped into the fucking lifeboat?
Yes.
There's a portrait
of him, yes. And he apparently fled the sinking ship, leaving women and children behind.
Yeah.
Witnesses on the lifeboat claim that he kept his back to the ship as it descended. And that's got to be, I know that is the character in Titanic, the guy that jumps upon the boat or the lifeboat essentially. And in the ship, he does this. He has a flask, and in the movie, it shows him taking a swig of his whiskey, and he turns his back and just looks forward and doesn't want to see the chaos ensue. That essentially he was one of the builders he helped create, and it's probably one of his, and a lot of people's belief, his fault.
Yeah.
For why it went down. And
I wouldn't say it's necessarily his fault, but it would be the same as if like you or I had a hand in building something that, like we built an apartment complex or something. We designed it, and we were like, nah, I know this isn't an earthquake area, but this thing is totally good. And then an earthquake comes, and you're in the building celebrating the grand opening of it, and all of a sudden it starts dropping. You're not really gonna be like, oh man, let me sit around and admire my handiwork. You're gonna be kind of like.
And you know what's crazy? He was one of the people, just literally. And he was one of the people insisting that the ship speed up after receiving ice warnings. He was one of the fucking dudes that were like, yeah, let's keep going.
I've read a couple of the things that people thought that if, I don't know if it was practice or if this was just hearsay or whatever, but I guess generally if you had an iceberg in front of you, you went quicker because then you could like, if it was small enough, break through it or something. But that almost doesn't make any sense to me because the whole expression, the tip of the iceberg, you wouldn't think that you would.
When it comes to conspiracies too.
Yeah.
The tip. That's why I would say Jeffrey Epstein is the tippity top, right?
Just the tip.
Touching tips. You've seen Sausage Party, right?
Of course.
Awesome movie. And we'll never see movies like that again because people are too sensitive. So obviously, perhaps it's not surprising that ghosts of the Titanic seem to dislike him. One early morning, as the crew came into the open and to open the exhibit, they found the portrait of Bruce Ismay on the floor. The manager watched the surveillance video from the night before and was stunned to see the picture beginning to shake. Before it came off the wall, maybe on its own accord. He saw it shake and it fell off. He watched a fucking video of this portrait shake and fall off the wall.
Dude, I'd be shitting my pants. That's fucking terrifying.
Isn't that weird? Strange, they might say. So let's talk about another ghost story, because there's a lot surrounding this exhibit, and we've seen this and we've heard about this, that we talked about in this podcast, even with the haunted way back. I want to get that sound effect from Wayne's World. Of like me and Billy even talked about haunted dolls and how there's certain haunted dolls in museums and they do a bunch of crazy shit. There's that one doll and they went in, they put her in a specific room, locked her in a cabinet, and then they went back and everything was like an array. There was like shards of papers ripped up and things everywhere. Like everything was all fucked up in this room that was locked.
Is that
So it
doll
happens.
Robert as well?
Right? Yeah, even Robert the Doll, man.
Yep.
That's based on what Chucky. Chucky was based off Robert the Doll.
Chucky's so much better than Robert the Doll, though. I'm
I
sorry.
know. Chelsea does
I
not
love
like the Chucky show, but I think it's
What?
hilarious.
I was. Look,
It's fucking
love it.
stupid and it's
I
awesome.
fucking love it.
So
Did you see the season finale?
not yet. Don't
won't
spoil
say
it. Or did I? I don't know if I did.
Saw it last year. You saw it last year in 2021.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I've watched it. And is you the daughter
They're
plays-
watching Frankenstein in the theater.
Not yet.
Oh yeah,
And isn't it it's what's his name's daughter that plays him? Right?
Fiona Dourif. Yeah,
That's
she's
super, 'cause
fantastic in it.
And I was like, that's not him. They didn't superimpose him. That's his daughter. It looks like
They did
her.
his voice.
Yeah.
He does the voiceover work. But yeah, that's Fiona Dourif. I first saw her in Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Yeah, Billy loves that show, and I got into it and I stopped watching it. So I got to get back into that.
I didn't know who she was in it, and I heard the voice, and I was like, she sounds like Brad Dourif. She kind of looks like Brad Dourif, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh fuck, that's his daughter.
So strange.
Yeah.
So what if you saw a ghost without even realizing it? In the case of the second officer, Leonardo Bishop, of the SS Winter Haven, that's exactly what happened. In 1977, he gave a tour of the ship to a man who assumed was a passenger. The British man was a very soft-spoken, extremely interested in every detail of the vessel, almost unusually so. So Bishop found the man a bit strange, not unpleasant, just odd. And it wasn't until a few years later, after seeing a photo of the Titanic captain, Edward John Smith, that Bishop realized why the situation felt so off. Bishop exclaimed to a friend, "I know him. I gave him a tour of the boat." The friend laughed and informed Bishop that man had been long deceased, and that man was the captain of the Titanic. Is that fucking weird, dude? He's like, they're doing a tour of this other boat, and this guy looks exactly the same. And who knows if he was a captain of this boat before he was the captain of the Titanic, because you have to have a high regiment of experience, right, to be the captain of the Titanic.
I think you have to be a naval officer. I would assume you have to have some type of military conscripted service. You have to reach the rank of captain, at least, I would assume, right, in the military. Yeah. And then, you get headhunted, essentially, by somebody that's like, we need a captain. Who do you know? And it's like, oh, I have this cousin who blah, 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 blah. And allegedly went down with the ship.
Yes, and we'll get into different stories about ghosts later on in life. But
there's the thought that he dressed up like a woman and then made his way off the ship.
Is that a fucking theory? Why didn't we talk about that during the fucking conspiracy?
I thought we did. We didn't mention that? Yeah. No, then I must have had notes and we didn't talk about it.
Oh, no, we did, because I said he pulled the Donnelly, the Jack Donnelly, or John Donnelly, how he dressed up like a woman and like plowed the fields. And it's like, why is this guy so strong? Throw back to the Black Donnelly episode, how the father dressed up like the woman after he got caught for killing that guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like out there with their bonnet on, like farming the land.
like, man, he is plowing that, or she is plowing that field. Wait a minute.
I know. So
Those
that's
muscles look a little
so we
big.
did mention that, and the fact that this idea of like spirits go to where they're most comfortable, right? Or their greatest memories are,
Or they're
or
attached to it, yeah, like the
yes,
strongest memories.
they're
So
attached to it, so they go back.
So then that goes into what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode with if the Titanic leaves the water, will the hauntings follow? So then the answer is yes.
Yeah,
Yes, they
because
will.
and that's I believe this that people go back to where they're most fond of or where they're stuck to, and it shows it in The Conjuring 2. Is that where the little girl gets possessed? Or is that 3? No, she does the voices of the old man, and she like, and this is based on we'll eventually I have it actually written out too.
Wasn't the second one the Enfield Poltergeist, right?
Yes, the Enfield Poltergeist.
Okay.
That's the one where the little girl was possessed, and the old man just kind of stuck in this house. It was where he lived. It's his home, and that's what happens too. Is people get stuck in this parallel universe where they believe they know, or they either know they're dead, or they don't know they're dead, or they kind of they don't even leave this astral world. They stay inside of it because they believe that this is their home, their property. They're not gonna leave, even if fucking Jesus was real or some holy ghost came and was like, no, you need to go, bro. He's like, no, fuck you.
Well,
Home.
your mother sucks cocks in hell. You think that's how what we would refer to as demonic entities form? So you have somebody who either in life was a very selfish person or a cruel person. They die. They remain because they don't want to go on to the light.
Yeah.
Or they don't go to the afterlife or what have you. And because that being is more or less a selfish entity and it continues to be selfish, like causing hauntings because it wants to be alone or whatever, it just gets worse and worse and gains more power.
No,
I
I think that's true that they gain power. Yeah, you're right. Like gain energy and power, almost like how the reptilians do. Bingo. But or how these things attach themselves. So he attaches himself to certain places because he's selfish and he wants this for his own. And I really want to get into the astral world one day and what it could be beyond, because it's I do think that the Conjuring movies and stuff, Insidious, does show a good aspect of what it could be like. But it's
Insidious is
strange.
great with the medium where she has the rapid strobe light flashing and the sensory deprivation. Like, dude, I love
very
those
scary.
movies.
I want to watch the new one. The Devil Made Me Do It. I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't seen that one either. I heard it sucks.
I know.
It's a Conjuring movie, isn't it?
Yeah, and my brother liked like Annabelle 3. I thought it was fucking horrible. So they're lacking that genre became very popular, and then they just did anything they could. The Nun, horrible movie.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Absolutely horrible.
La Llorona was also horrible. Like, if you want a good La Llorona story, just look up a bunch of old like Mexican folktales.
What's that guy's name? The guy that made the fairy film.
Del Toro. Del Toro just did Nightmare Alley. Yeah, they filmed it here. It was most of it.
It looks
filmed in
fucking
Buffalo.
so good.
It's gonna be great. I recognize most of the buildings. I'm just like, oh, I've been there.
Is such a good director. I
love
don't
him.
give a shit. This new one coming out looks really fucking well done.
Well, he's been slated to do, or he has designs for the penguins from Mountains of Madness. And dude, I really wish they would let him do it, because if anybody gets to do At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft, it should be Guillermo del Toro.
They're gonna start diving into H.P. Lovecraft more often. I have this whole book set. I gotta get into that. I'm really trying to get through all my books.
Just read a couple stories, and we'll do the thing. I have enough. I have enough insight for both of us on Lovecraft.
I know. Just wait. I want to get into it though. I gotta get myself. I gotta dig my claws into this essentially. So the ghost of the Titanic lookout watches. So Frederick Fleet, a British sailor, served as a lookout aboard the RMS Titanic. He spotted the deadly iceberg and warned the bridge. Tragically, his warning came too late. The ship was going too fast to avoid the collision. This is why they shouldn't have went as fast as they did. So Frederick survived the sinking of the Titanic, but not his own depression. After his wife's passing just after Christmas in 1964, he was evicted by his brother-in-law. Wow. His brother's like, you know what? She's dead now. I don't really like you, so you can get the fuck out of my property. And
he's like, I've had enough of your shit. I've given you the grieving period. You're still a lazy, good for nothing bum.
Yep.
How fucked up. But I mean, people didn't really think about, like, even soldiers would get shot for desertion in the 20s because they didn't understand shell shock. Like, if a soldier's standing there and is comatose
Yeah.
because they're just gone because of the shit that
Yes.
they've seen, they're going to shoot them because they're like, well, this person's a coward and they don't
Yeah.
want to fight anymore.
And that's ridiculous too, and that's why I do one of my favorite war movies ever is Saving Private Ryan, because
Yeah.
it does very much show how horrific that that war is. And I work with the guy Bill, and his I'm pretty sure his father was in the war. He's Scottish, and his dad was he was in the boat when it went to Normandy and it lowered down, and he saw
He
all
was
of his
at D-Day?
yeah, and he saw all his buddies get riddled, and he was supposed to. They're supposed to be the guy that feeds the fucking gun.
Yeah, the belt, yeah.
Yeah, the belt, right? And there's supposed to be someone getting the ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
That guy got shot. So Bill's father, I mentioned Bill on this podcast before, he's the coolest fucking dude. He fucking smokes, but he's got long white hair. He's actually retiring now at the place I work, so everyone's gonna miss him. He's only got like a couple days left, and you would love this dude. Fucking most awesomest, chill, funny ass fucking dude you could meet. I even like when I was about to do this episode, I went to the LCBO to get some beer, and he was there because we both got off work early, and I was like, oh, of course I'd see you here because we both live in the same little town now that I've moved. And he said his father had to do both jobs, run and get the ammo while feeding the fucking gun, and he saw a bunch of his friends just
What's dude's name?
obliterated.
Bill? Shout out to Bill, man.
Yeah, Bill's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he
So-
sounds dope.
This guy hung himself after his brother-in-law kicked him out.
The fuck else is he gonna do? It's
I
not as
know.
though you had social welfare programs. This is
Yeah.
like, I'm assuming the 30s, so this is before FDR even put in Social Security as a thing, because that came about as part of World War II.
Yeah.
So you don't have a social safety net. It's the same reason why upteen number of people killed themselves during the stock market crash.
Yeah,
in the 20s.
well, this is also why World War II implemented a lot of things that we see today with certain
Like
taxes
the
on
Geneva
things.
Code.
Yes, and taxes, and along the
Taxes
line,
have always been a thing.
they made it worse during World War II.
Well,
And
because your nation basically does the whole everyone tighten your belt. We need these materials, or we're gonna get conquered.
and women, busted their ass to make sure that shit was done, and men forgot. And the funny thing is, while we're watching this, like I mentioned, that movies of like the 80s, 90s, they talk about League of Their Own, and you know what? I'm like, I haven't seen this movie. I'll watch it. Women playing
Still crying in
baseball.
baseball.
Yeah, fucking yeah, I know. So, and I remember seeing it slightly when I was younger, and this idea of that, but I believe, right, the whole thing of indoctrinating children in the school system to essentially be programmed to work a 9-to-5 job, give them the basics so they can just work a 9-to-5 job, was instilled after World War II, according to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers.
Kindergarten
Deep
wasn't a
cut.
thing until post World War II. Kindergarten was invented in Nazi Germany.
What?
Kindergarten. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds German.
It
Yeah, I
is.
gotta say
Kinder,
that
children. It means garden of children is what it means.
that's extremely, extremely creepy. And you know what? That just Jesus, that just blew my mind. I didn't think about that. It's very interesting. So his grave went unmarked until the Titanic Historical Society erected a headstone for him in 1993. It appears his spirit is not really resting. Witnesses have claimed to see him keeping watch over the Las Vegas exhibit on the deck of where they obviously recreated some sort of this in the exhibit, and people claim they see him on the deck of this fake Titanic,
I mean, I believe it.
and perhaps driven by the guilt to keep watch over even in the afterlife. And coming this year, we'll definitely be diving into ghost stories of the Civil War, and people constantly see soldiers walking around doing shit that soldiers do.
I think we
And-
talked about it on the last Titanic episode, but yeah, dude, Gettysburg is a really weird place with a bunch of weird vibes, even in the middle of the town. And I don't know if it was my brain, filling
Yeah.
in the blanks or being in a whole mood when I was down there, but The whole town just has this like somber feel to it, and on the battlefields, it's just there's nothing restful.
And we'll get
about
into
that
like
place.
Bloody Lane and shit. Oh, it goes deep.
And it should be because it's just a big open field, and there's these really
Yeah.
nice like tree groves and tree lines and shit, and it's just like you're walking, and it's like, oh man, somebody died here, somebody died here. Like
As I've said, you've heard me, right? The world's a graveyard.
it is.
I wrote that in a fucking song when I was like 15. The world is a graveyard. It's a massive graveyard. So this is interesting. Museum staffers are poked by and prodded by an unseen hands. According to staff and visitors, the Titanic artifact exhibition at the Luxor, which of course everything's at the Luxor. You got Chris Angel. He's hanging out there on the top floor, doing fake magic, walking up
Chris
fake
Angel.
walls. He's such a piece of shit. I used to like Mind Freak when I was a kid, but he's a fucking piece of shit. He is. I don't like him.
Like Alan Arkin said about Jim Carrey's Chris Angel character in Burt Wonderstone. What you do is not magic; it is monkey porn.
So it is supposedly extremely haunted, and eerie sounds and uneasy feelings and actual sightings of ghostly specters have been reported all the time. Artifact expert Joe Zimmer seems to attach quite a bit of the attention from these supposed spirits. He says he has his name called. He's had his name called out, which is even creepier.
Joe.
Yeah, it's Joe. Joe.
Joe. There's streaks on this exhibit. Oh shit! I forgot these. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I love
His
my
hair, his hair and his clothing was pulled. So this guy's got like a fucking gay ass, ponytail in the back. I'm just joking. Honestly, if I could grow my hair long, I fucking probably would. But I have no
My
fucking
ponytail is
patience.
only gay when another man is Never mind.
All right. Doggy style, bro. It's a
Ooh.
handle.
Yes, both of those things.
And all followed by sounds of laughter. At late night, Zimmer reports hearing phantom orchestra plays too.
Turns out there's just a sound system in the museum that plays at night very quietly.
This is what he hears. It's like, what is that? It's like walking around, but like, man, what is that?
The ghost of Celine Dion just shows up. I didn't know you were dead. I'm not.
This song just makes me. You know what's funny? When she dies, every time that song plays, she gets like just fucking shot to that place and time where somebody's playing it. It's like, God damn it.
That'd be the worst. It's a Horcrux. It's a Horcrux to summon Celine Dion.
You're like, fucking Christ, man. I didn't want to do the song in the first place.
They drove a dump truck full of money up to my house. I'm not made of stone.
So ghost hunters captured a voice on tape. Of course, you're like this one.
Ghost hunters. I love taps.
The Georgia Aquarium also houses potentially haunted artifacts from the Titanic. The employees have claimed to see shadows, hear voices, and even be touched by spirits. The paranormal activity is so intense that Sci-Fi Channel's Ghost Hunter came to investigate.
Yeah, taps.
The report, and I want to find this. I was like, I wonder if it's on Peacock because we're gonna keep that for a couple more months so I can watch.
What, Ghost Hunters?
I wonder if it's on there just because it's American. Isn't it not
Discovery.
American?
It's on Discovery. I might be able to let you log into my Amazon shit and use it because I have it on Prime.
But I have Prime then.
Well, you got to buy the channel.
I have Stack.
What's Stack?
Oh, maybe it's Canadian. Stack has like Discovery and
Then yeah, you might have it because it has Paranormal Caught on Camera, which is the whole reason I got it, so I could watch Ben
Oh.
Kissel just pop up and be like, "That's fucking weird."
yeah, he's on there.
He's on Paranormal Caught on Camera, yeah.
Yeah, we just renewed our Stack. Stack is like, I think it's Canadian, but it has IFC, a bunch of stupid shit for fucking too much
Dude, you
money.
can watch Whitest Kids You Know if it has IFC.
I don't want to watch that.
What do you mean you don't want? Tom?
It's whitest kid I've seen. Is that me? No, that's Billy. Never mind.
Whitest
He's
Kid,
Mexican.
Whitest Kid You Know. That's what Trevor Moore was from. The sketch comedy show.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
those of you who follow me on Instagram will know that the Friday that Trevor Moore died is now known as the Feast of Saint Moore Day, because I officially canonized Trevor Moore as a Discordian saint, as is my right, as is my want.
That's what everybody says.
You're crazy. So they reportedly captured a voice recording of saying, "No, please wait," in the iceberg room. So that's even creepy. The team also said they got readings of several anomalies, cold spots, and witnesses of shadowy figures. I'll watch Ghost Hunters just for this episode. Like, I love the Titanic. I love the Titanic. Don't give a shit what people say. This shit's so fucking interesting.
You know what we could do? One night we don't got to stream it, but one night we can watch it, watch that episode. Maybe watch it in Discord. I can pull it up on here, stream it. We can watch it. Maybe a couple of our listeners out there, huh? You want to jump on that Patreon?
We're gonna start doing that stuff in the future. That's in the works, because I want to start doing watch parties, because there was something else that I can't think of it, that I thought about today that you would want to watch with me, that something that I thought you would know, and I was like, that's got. Oh, you ever seen the Warriors of Virtue?
Yes. Oh my god, dude! I haven't thought about that movie in so long. With like the kangaroo people.
Yeah, I used to have action figures of the shit. I'm like, that's got to be on YouTube for free. That movie's shit.
That movie's shit.
It's good. Like,
if you sign up for our Patreon, fucking get your asses on down, and we're gonna start having Discord watch parties.
We're gonna have a
bunch
bunch
of
of
stuff coming
stuff.
up. In, what, like a month or so, maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do this, because I want to do a whole episode of us. Not even a couple episodes. Maybe do a couple, but I want to do. I used to own this town.
Oh, Big Wolf on Campus, hell yeah! I've been waiting. I haven't watched any of the YouTube because I want to watch it with you.
Me neither. I want to watch it together too.
Fuck
so after reviewing their findings, they include the Titanic exhibit at Georgia Aquarium is in fact haunted. So, confronting spirits that haunt the Titanic Belfast Museum. So they have it seems like there's a bunch of different artifacts in a bunch of different places, and there's a bunch of different hauntings all over the world that got a hold of certain artifacts to do with the Titanic. So, as they like to say in Ireland, the Titanic was built by the Irish, sunk by the English. The Titanic Belfast Museum commemorates the ship in Belfast, Ireland. And it seems that they have ghostly presence, the presence of ghosts of its own. In 2009, 10 years ago, about a little more, a woman touring the museum listened to the final distress call of the RMS Titanic. Just creepy, because it's creepy that they have that. And that's not what it was. But she claimed that while listening to the original Morse code and seeing the words of the RMS Titanic distress call, she became overwhelmingly emotional. She started to cry. She started to get
did she kill herself too? Because we're up to what, 4 suicides at this point?
No, she started to get real sad, and her heart was pounding, and she felt
she Mr. Lonely, as
anxious and heartbroken as if she were the radio controller herself. Shaking and sick to her stomach, she began to cry. Walking away to get some air, she felt a hand on her shoulder, and a male voice said softly, "It's okay. It's okay.
Don't be sad. We're okay."
And that would be creepy. So she's listening to the Morse code, and I could feel it, right? I could feel that emotion. You're listening, because their whole thing is like, we're fucked, please help, fuck. Like, these people that are like, come on, we gotta do something, and then nothing. It doesn't do anything. Essentially, she assumed it was her friend and reached to brush off his hand. Like, it's okay, I'm fine.
Or she's like, I told you fucking 12 times. Friend zone.
Yeah.
Friend zone. Stop touching me.
But realized no one was there. Was it the spirit of the radio controller, Jack Phillips, she wonders? Was he reassuring her that he was at peace for what happened? Because he fucking probably left there still fucking... As Ed's just like tilted up and it's sinking, he's like, come on, someone's got to answer.
Please, why aren't you answering? So, hell no, man. It was that captain who tried to get fresh with the other guy, too. That captain's just ghostly and horny. Please touch me.
touching
80 years.
you, touching me.
Sweet Titanic. Ba,
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 ba.
You know what that song's about, right? I hope you know.
What?
Neil Diamond sang that about the princess, and she was 14 at the time, so he's a pedophile. I know about that.
So all of you fucks out there making stuff, if you're a pedophile, please stop making stuff. I don't want to like something and then immediately have to hate it when I find out that you're a
I know
creep.
it's sad.
Okay.
It is sad. I'm like, and that's why I said the one episode with me and Billy. I was like, everyone I love is fucking becoming a rapist. Even
Dude,
like,
it's hard enough to watch
I know.
Beetlejuice anymore because you're like, oh, Jeffrey Jones, pedophile. Can't watch The Pest because Jeffrey Jones again.
Is that the guy with the glasses?
The dad.
What?
The guy with the glasses is Alec Baldwin in Beetlejuice.
Wow, he looks so young.
Yeah, he's super young in that.
So young.
Ladies and gentlemen, non-convicted murderer Alec Baldwin.
The dad. Wow. What? I
The
didn't know
dad,
that.
yeah. Yeah, what the fuck is his name? Dietz, but what's his first name?
Teats.
If you do not let me get out of this house and make it my own, I will go inside and I will take you with me.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the house could use a little remodeling.
Wow, he's
That's
a
Catherine
pedo?
O'Hare too. That's
No, I love
you know,
Catherine O'Hara.
She's the best.
Imagine working with all these pedos too, and you're like, oh shit, I knew this was happening.
Well, okay, so if we're getting off topic and going into the weird pedo ring shit, but Danny Elfman wrote the song "Little Girls" with Oingo Boingo, which is a really weird pedophilic fucking anthem of sorts, or it's just a criticism on the pedophilia rings. But Danny Elfman is also the person who did the theme song to The Simpsons, which has ties to Matt Groening, and Matt Groening is a confirmed person that was on the Lolita Express.
Yeah, same with fucking Justin Trudeau. So, and this goes real deep, and you know that's why they suppressing everything coming out from.
Why there's no
Ghislaine.
media allowed in the Ghislaine trial, which is bullshit. Yeah,
fucking ridiculous. But Kyle Rittenhouse, we can fucking stream this to YouTube.
Y'all gonna make me pull a Rittenhouse. Have you heard that song? Somebody wrote a Rittenhouse rap. It's
so
ridiculous.
Fucking funny. According to Louise and Neil Boner, it is Boner. It's Bonner.
That's Bonner. Boner is spelled with one N.
I don't give a shit. Still, Neil Boner, owners of the former home of Titanic Captain Edward John Smith, the shipmaster, supposedly lingers the house. Inside the home, he's there. He's hanging out. The couple, which is crazy. This guy with the fucking captain used to live here. They're like, oh man, this guy shows up all the time. And
Man, the
we're just
captain
trying
is
to-
getting around.
I
He's at the
know.
museum. He's back
Yeah.
in his house. What did he get the fucking the ghostly passport where it's like, nah, man, I can go wherever the hell I want.
And it's weird that he's like everywhere and nowhere at once.
Or that gives credence to that fan that was telling us that it was a pan-dimensional black hole. So when he went down, his energy split. And everybody's energy
Like
split.
Chucky.
They went on all different timelines, and now we're just popping up left and right.
One
I
real
think
like
that fan was on to
I
something.
I kind of like the idea of Chucky splitting his soul, Charles Lee Ray. But also it's weird.
It's silly. I haven't seen Cult of Chucky yet, but
It's
I
not
like
that
it. It's
great.
fine.
It's
I've heard it's not that
okay.
great.
So the couple had spent their last decade returning to the 19th century Victorian home, and their tenants have reported feeling icy chills. So they actually rent this house out that other people live inside. And are you having a dab toke?
No, it's just my bowl.
Oh, I haven't smoked a pipe in so long, bro. Oh, is that one of those stupid lighters?
Yeah.
It's one of yeah, weird. Is it better for you than flame?
I don't know. It's just silly. It's a thing that, like, when I'm sitting around with a bunch of friends in the middle of the summer and we're all smoking, I just pull this out and hand it out to somebody, and they're just like, "What the fuck is this?" It's
It
conversation
looks like
starter.
a dick, a bent dick.
That reminds me of a fun story. I'll tell you off camera.
All right, sounds great. So I okay, never mind. So
It involves me being very shallow and just being like, "Yeah, I don't want to see you anymore."
thank you. So seeing icy, yeah, that's fucking up with the audio. So let's just let him hit that.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it sounds.
Oh,
I don't
alright.
know,
I'll just use it
something wrong with that. There, smoke it up. So they hear the tenants that live in the old captain's house supposedly hears, like, you know, they get icy chills passing through them, hearing strange noises.
Do you think the ghosts?
I'm flying.
She's fine.
Do you think the ghosts of the Titanic would radiate at a colder temperature than normal ghosts because they died in
Might
frozen
be.
waters?
Might be. That is a strange, but it might be. Maybe. And even seeing full body apparitions of the captain. The property has also suffered a flood in the kitchen, unusually cold gust in the dining room. It's funny that they had flood. It's even stranger. And according to Mr. Boner, some years after we had a single chap living in there, he rang up one day, convinced he had seen the ghost of the captain. He was in bed when he saw him drifting across the room. Which is like, woo, he's like just fucking hanging out. And it's like, all right. And it was supposed to be on this year's Halloween episode, but next year, just wait for some spectrophilia shit.
Some ghosts copping a feel. You getting that
Yes.
ghostly peen up inside you.
So
You're slipping in between a couple of soft, moist ghost sheets.
stupid.
I don't fucking know. It's dumb.
People aboard the ship's passing the site where the RMS Titanic went down have reported mysterious balls of light. They saw orbs, bro, around where the ship maybe passed by, believed to be spirit orbs hovering in the area. And if you see on my Instagram, I think I posted it on the Strange Brew not too long ago, but did you see that post I posted where me and Chelsea were walking on that bridge? I took
Yeah, and you
pictures of
got
the
the
green
orbs popping
orbs.
up?
The green orb.
Mhm.
It was a fucking twice. Took 2 pictures in a different, like within 2 to 5 minutes, and we caught the orb moving. It was like here, like to the side. It was, and then it was on this bridge, and then all of a sudden it was over here. This is not an anomaly of fucking camera tricks. You can zoom it in. You can see it looks like some plasma looking orb, and it's green. And green orbs have to do with nature. So I've seen orbs many times. I've caught orbs on camera. I've said this on the podcast before. Me and Chelsea were in Niagara Falls and we were drinking and I was drunk. There's a picture of me naked pissing in a toilet and there's a fucking red orb right behind me. Right behind me. You can see it clearly. It's creepy. And we're in a fucking hotel where there's like obviously shouldn't be so much dust. And why would dust be red anyway? And it's this red orb just behind my back, and red is negative and angry and energy. And back then I was going through a lot of shit and I was kind of crazy, and it was a negative angry orb, and this thing was probably attached to me. And I've seen even when the same trip in Niagara, which is weird, we went to a bunch of old wax museums on Clifton Hill, and we caught a bunch of fucking orbs, dude.
Yo,
Like,
did you ever go to that haunted house on Clifton Hill?
Which one? The
That
Frank
one that's
Stone
like
the vampire one.
No, not the warehouse one, or not the wax museum ones, because I've been to all those as well, and the fucking the Guinness, the Ripley's, that
seen the
big
Criminal
ass
Wax
arcade
Museum?
that was over there. I've eaten at that Wendy's on Clifton Hill more times than I can even fucking tell.
Oh yeah, I've to get into this. So yeah, so let's just finish it up. But they saw orbs, and on one or more occasions, submarine travelers diving deep into those depths have received unusual radio interference, odd noises, and SOS calls with no origin crackling through their communication equipment. Extremely creepy.
What's it kind of like
Strange.
ghost boxes or spirit boxes where it's constantly flipping
Yes.
the channel
I
and it
have
just picks
one.
up stuff? So yeah,
I want to use
dude,
it. Very
I
soon.
want you to come over here so bad so we
We
can
have
go
so
ghost
much
hunting.
shit.
I'll take you to all of the spots.
So, have you been to the Criminal Wax Museum in Niagara Falls?
Yes,
not there
I used
anymore.
to do that one. Was so cool. It was the closest I've ever come to getting to go to the Museum of Death that's in L.A.
Yes,
Because I used to go eat at that Baskin Robbins that was also
Yeah.
a Little Caesars all the time over
And
there.
I was gonna say to you that that Wendy's,
Yeah.
many memories. I have a cousin that lives in Niagara Falls, and we used to go there all the time and drink. And he was working, and he worked at the Skylon, the big
Okay,
tower.
yeah,
that
the
you
big
can go
tower,
up.
yeah.
And so me and his buddy Mike, the same kid that got left in Cuba. If you go back to the Shadow People
Oh,
episode,
that was that, Mike?
yeah, and he,
No
the one
shit.
that got too drunk and I had to leave him. Me and him, we drank a whole 26 or to ourselves, walked to Clifton Hill, and because it was so close, my cousin was close, and so was Mike, was down the street from my cousin. So me and Mike got obliterated, pretty drunk, and we went in Wendy's. We always used to go there and drink and go to the arcade. And I always have this memory of meeting these people that are on Special K, and we're don't do this at home, but we're like 15, drunk as shit. And these kids were like, yeah, we're on Special K. We're like, what's Special K?
Friends don't let friends do ketamine.
Yeah, and then we didn't do it, but they were like, yeah, it makes you feel like you're drunk. You just snort it. And we hung out with these dudes like 25. We were like 15 drunk in this Wendy's. And I have a lot of memories of Clifton Hill is amazing. And it's funny that you have went there. And me and Chelsea have went there. Like she got sick of it, but I even said if shit wasn't what was happening now during my birthday in November last year, I wanted to go to Niagara Falls. I just wanted to drink and go to the hotel, the one that's right on the cliff. I just wanted to get drunk and walk through some haunted houses and shit.
If we're talking about the same hotel, the one that's like to the right of Planet Hollywood, it's right down by the water, and it's like built in. Okay, so when I was 19, my first girlfriend and I went there, and I was wearing my favorite jeans, which were these torn up, stitched together, drawn all over jeans. It was a super weird day. Like we had trouble at the border and all that shit, and it was when I was still smoking cigarettes really heavily too, and she smoked as well. And so we got there, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna rent this room, and we're gonna stay at this hotel. And they were like, do you want smoking or non-smoking? I was like, smoking, please. She's like, oh, we don't have. The guy was like, we don't have smoking in.
Why would you ask that?
The suite that you wanted, because it was different time.
Yeah.
He's like, we don't have smoking at the suite that you wanted at this price or whatever. And then this older woman came out, and she's just like, what were they trying to get? Oh yeah, well, we're booked up for that. Give them the good one on the house. And if you guys need anything like room service or booze or anything, it was an older lady, and she just comped me a room on my birthday, and I was just like, thank you. And she's like, everybody needs a little kindness now and again.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
To the day I die, I'll never forget it. So if this woman is listening, thank you. Much love. That's
amazing.
You made my birthday. It was amazing. She gave us a hot tub room, dude.
There's going to be this day that the fans will see video footage of me and Anton hanging out in Niagara Falls. It's going to happen one day. I don't give a shit. It's got to happen. Well, what we've joked about, going to Clifton Hill and looking across where you're on the state side.
No, before the border opens, like if you're down, I'm down. We'll pick a day, and I totally want to do that. I'll have one of my friends come. We'll film it. It'll be amazing.
And I'll get Chelsea to come along, and she'll just film it and just like fucking
quarters in and be like, there he is.
I know. And Chelsea laughed. I told her that we wanted to do that, and I want this shit to lighten up because I've never wanted to go to the States. Just my opinion. Now that I know you and Juan, and I have best friends essentially in the States, I would like to go there. And you're so close, it's fucking stupid not to do it.
We are like 45 minutes away from each other.
No, it's fucking dumb. Weird. And this will be awesome because once I could literally drive just over the border and I could come meet you somewhere. You could show me around. We're gonna do this. It's gonna happen one day. So let's get into the last one. And I know you got one about a certain premonition. So a creepy legend surrounding the Titanic comes from the deathbed of a young Scottish girl named Jessie. On the same night the ship went down, Jessie was on the verge of dying.
You're not going to do Scottish?
In her Scottish. In her delirious state, she supposedly spoke of a massive ship sinking and a man named Wally playing a fiddle. It's funny because Chelsea's stepdad is Scottish, and I used to be able to do this, but I don't think I can. I used to do ridiculous accents on this podcast, and I don't think I can do it anymore. I think my brain's shot.
Put a little heavier on the throat action there, lad.
Throat action. Yeah. Let's go down and have some haggis.
Keep a bunch of shite in your fucking throat.
That peppercorn steak was great.
The fucking sauce was just god-awful.
She supposedly spoke of a massive sinking ship and a man named Wally playing a fiddle. She had no idea of the knowing of the Titanic that would sink that very night, or that Wally Hartley, like I was right on the fucking conspiracy episode, played his violin one last time as he and his band went down with the ship. Like I fucking said, there was definitely musicians playing.
I still believe that the cellist just rode that motherfucker the rest of the way, like, ha-ha, just using the violin as a paddle, sitting on top of it.
She's dead. She's dying, and she has this premonition of seeing this massive ship go down, and she's dying. So she's connected to somehow the astral world. Sees
the veil is just super thin at that point, so you're probably privy to a bunch more information.
I'm going to be on the side that I believe her, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll take a creepy opposite stance that I'm normally on, and I'll just go full belief.
You're crazy.
That's what everybody says.
All right, let's get into your story.
That's another spooky dooky premonition. Spooky dooky. Morgan Robertson published The Wreck of the Titan in 1898. 14 years later, the real-life Titanic disaster happened, and many took that as a sign that the author had precognitive abilities. Robertson rejected those claims, which is weird because this is at the height of the spiritualist movement.
Yeah.
No. If it's early, yeah, okay, so this is pre-spiritualist movement. But if this would have happened with a different wreck 20 years later in the middle of the spiritualist movement, this dude would have probably been like, yeah, totally. Give me your money. You can totally talk to your dead
He
loved
denies
ones.
it, doesn't he?
Yes. Yeah, so he refuted those claims, saying that he was just drawing on his real-life experience as a seaman.
Seaman.
However, there are plenty of chillingly specific parallels between the book and reality. Besides the similar names, the fictitious Titan, like the Titanic, was supposed to be the largest of its kind and an unsinkable ship. It also lacked enough lifeboats to accommodate its passenger load and struck an iceberg while going too fast in the North Atlantic. Both disasters also took place in April and cost thousands of people their lives.
It's fucking crazy. And he knew some shit, man. He knew some shit, and maybe I wish he would just,
Jack, I want you to draw me like one of your French girls.
We all wish Jack would draw us like one of his French girls.
So honestly, I really had fun doing this episode. I doubt we'll get back in the Titanic. So we gave you 2 full-on crazy episodes of, a very, heart-wrenching disaster that everyone knows or should know about. And I like this one. Conspiracy one, it teeters because you don't really know what's real and what's not. I do believe there's some conspiracies behind this, but either way, this disaster was horrible. But my heart will go on. My heart will go on. I'm Tomcat, aka Tom Thompson, and you can follow me at Strange Brew Podcast at the Reptilian. Look at us on TikTok, on Rizzle, wherever you want to find us. But my heart will go on no matter what, because I'm immortal. As Billy would say, but doesn't matter. Nothing will kill me because I am immortal. My soul will carry on, and Celine Dion will forever haunt my dreams. I was playing this at work, and fucking my buddy Jesse's down at the brake press, he bends parts and shit. And then I was like, "Do you hear it?" And he's like, and I was like, "In my heart will," and he's shaking his head, looking up at me, what the fuck, man? I was playing it loud as fuck too on my speaker, and the boss was probably like, "What is fucking wrong with this kid?"
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so shout yourself out, man, bro. I had a lot of fun doing this episode.
This was a really great time. It's always good hanging with you. But
Titanic's fucking crazy.
I'm really glad we did a 2-parter with the Titanic because I feel like there's way too much and too wide of a subject to cover with one single episode.
100%.
Hope all you listeners had a wonderful time
on this voyage. Yes,
on this voyage. I am, of course, Anton Crowley, another one of your fine esteemed hosts in the hose heads here at Strange Brew Podcast. You guys can find me on Instagram at HP Shovecraft. You can find me on Twitch at InvaderDaggett_TTV. Tune in every Thursday for some Bloodthirsty Thursdays. And Tom and I have been trying to get more streams up and running.
Yes,
here in the new year we'll have a little more time to get everything going as my work schedule will have shifted. What is with the weird chipmunk?
I think it's the guy that made the guy that made the beat. The guy that made the beat. He's like, "I made this, man," and it's because it's copyright free.
It's his digital watermark that he has to throw it in there.
So, I want to do some more streams of Friday 13th. We have plans to do a lot of stuff for Patreon this year.
Did you see the fucking Texas Chainsaw game that's coming out?
What? There's a Texas
dude, yeah, and Kane Hodder is voicing Leatherface.
No way. Like an actual.
Yeah, dude. We gotta get it and we gotta stream it. It's gonna be dope. It's a horror survival game that takes place at the Sawyer family farm.
Wow, they're really going for this shit with a lot of games though too. Because no matter what, we're definitely gonna be streaming when it comes out. Evil Dead is definitely
fucking bet your ass we are.
I can't fucking wait for that.
Dude, same.
So yeah, we appreciate you guys. We love everybody. You know what? The best way to support us, buy merch, jump on the Patreon. We will have more content. It's been lacking a little bit, but we have a lot of talks to do, a lot of fun stuff for the Patreon for fans that want to support us in that way. and support us by it's literally like $3 a month. It's not that much, and you can support us in the States. I think it's actually slightly cheaper. And so yeah, you can listen. We already have, strange, it's called Stranger Danger, our rant episodes. We have Strange History, which will be a lot more episodes coming on there. We'll have a bunch of stuff coming on the Patreon. But even, follow us on TikTok, but even we have ideas for Twitch. There's a bunch of stuff that we have in the works. But yeah, and rate and review us. That's a good way to do it too, is if you don't, you don't want to spend the money. Yeah. 5-star on iTunes with a nice review. Because we're up there. We're 5.5 on iTunes, or 5.5, that doesn't exist. 4.5 on iTunes. We have a lot of great reviews on there. And we're like 4.3 on Apple Podcasts, because we have 3 bad reviews from douchebags that all did 1 star. But I used to like you, but you made fun of the Confederate flag. So there's people.
Which reminds me, any of you out there that, dislike what we say or have any issue with anything that we say, yell at us personally. Don't post that shit on fucking iTunes. That's a dick move.
You can tell me.
It's like making a 1-star Yelp review. It means you got a
tiny schmeckle.
Means you got a George Washington-sized peanut.
All right. We love you all, and stay strange, fuckers.
Stay strange. And keep watching the skies, because UFOs are seen more and more every day.